Hello, and welcome to the Being Human podcast, where we explore what it means to truly be human, physically, mentally, and spiritually. We upload an episode of this podcast every single week, and we've got loads of big names in MMA, BJJ, and the combat sports space coming up. So what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. You do not want to miss any of these episodes. On this episode of the podcast, I sat down with Wez Tully. Wez is a pro MMA fighter. He is actually going to be making his pro debut on Golden Ticket in June. Wez has had an incredibly experienced amateur career. He has been fighting MMA for years now. There is actually no fighter that has fought on Golden Ticket as many times as Wez, so he is the most experienced fighter on Golden Ticket. We talked about the developments in his style, the balance of striking and grappling and how it differs from amateur to pro MMA. I talked to Wez about how he thinks things will be different in his pro career in terms of the longer rounds, the ability to use knees and elbows against wrestlers. I asked Wez about his goals in the sport. Wez has his sights set on the pinnacles of the sport. I talked to Wez about how he plans to get there in terms of his training, who he's training with, where he's training. I not only talked to Wez about the physical and technical elements of training, I talked to him about mindset as well. What mindset Wez carries with him on a day-to-day basis, how he developed that mindset, and how important that is to take you where you want to go in a sport as demanding as mixed martial arts. Wez is a great guy. He's part of the next generation of up-and-coming talent. He's got a very exciting and entertaining fight style. I look forward to seeing him make his pro debut. Make sure to support him, give him a follow on social media, and keep up to date with his journey. I hope you enjoy and find value in the conversation. If you do, make sure to give the video a thumbs up, drop a comment below, share it around on social media, and of course, hit that subscribe button. Support the channel, be a part of the community, help it grow. Thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and thank you for supporting Being Human.
He's got that many stories, bro. It's crazy.
It's funny that him and Joe are friends because you reminded me of Joe in the sense that Joe's a very good storyteller.
Yeah.
And Nathan was as well.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, he had lots of good stories to tell, and he told them brilliantly. So yeah, we'll go straight off into it on what we were just talking about. Obviously, pro debut coming up in, when is it, June?
22nd of June.
22nd of June. You've had 12 amateur fights at this point.
Yeah.
What went into the decision to go from amateur to pro? How did you make that decision? How did you know it was time to do it?
I knew, well, I've been preparing for it all my life, so I knew it was coming up soon. But just in my game and in my last fight, I felt, even though I lost it, no punches were thrown, you know what I mean? And I was defending all the takedowns. It was just slight little mistakes that I made. And I don't feel like those mistakes will be made at pro because of the weapons you're able to use, like knees to the head, elbows. It just changes up the game a little bit. The smaller gloves just changes everything.
Yeah, obviously there's a few differences, isn't there, between the amateur and pro game. There's the length of the rounds, the knees to the head, the elbows, like you said. We were talking earlier actually about how you started off in jits. Do you think it's fair to say that through your amateur career as an MMA fighter, you've kind of found a home as a striker more than a grappler?
Yeah.
Do you view it that way? And is that something
100%
you're going to enjoy at pro? Those elbows, those knees.
Yeah. The first half of my career before I met Nath, was I just shot for a takedown and just held. That's what most people do in MMA anyway. But ever since I met Nath, I brought my striking up, and then that brought my grappling down because I was focusing so much on my striking. Now it's about bringing my grappling back up. And that's what I've been doing at Renegade, like the wall wrestling every Monday. I'm here every single Monday to fix my mistakes, you know what I mean, and to get better. And I feel like I just feel like the wrestling in general is that sandwich filler, that difference between whether you can do well or not. I don't think it's so much the jiu-jitsu, because I feel like a wrestler can really negate some of the jiu-jitsu, not submissions as such, but the jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean?
Yeah, wrestling can be very anti-jiu-jitsu, can't it?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Rather than play into the jiu-jitsu game, there's always a place for jiu-jitsu, 100%, because you get submissions from all, you know what I mean. You get random chokes, you get arms that flail out and stuff. So it's always good to keep your jiu-jitsu on point. But I feel like it's that wrestling that makes or breaks a fighter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. It's that old Joe Rogan saying, isn't it? When you're a wrestler, you get to decide where the fight goes. You can either keep it on the feet or you can take it down to the ground.
That's it.
The length of the rounds, going from 3 minutes to 5 minutes, do you think that aids the striker, or do you think it potentially makes it more difficult if you do end up on the bottom? You're obviously down there for longer until the round break.
I feel like it's a balanced equation, because I feel like if you take my last fight as an example, where I was defending one takedown for 3 minutes per round, that when it changes to 5 minutes, there's not so much of a rush. Like when someone grabs your leg, it's like, oh shit, I've got to get him off so I can land punches. Whereas when you got that 5 minute rounds, it's like you can breathe, feel the position, get out, and then proceed to do what you need to do. But yeah, but obviously on the contrary, if you've got a good wrestler and you get taken down in the first minute, it's going to be a bit, shit.
That's it. It works both ways, doesn't it? I think as well from a gas tank standpoint, speaking to someone like, I'm a grappler and obviously I'll do some MMA rounds with the guys, trying to actively take someone down over and over is such an exhausting style. It's what made like Khabib so marvellous, the fact that he was just able to keep on doing it. So I think in that sense, if you are able to stuff those takedowns, the longer rounds, I think, oftentimes benefit the striker, because you'll end up tiring the wrestler out.
That first takedown, that's why it's so important to defend it, because it's like, that sets the tone of the fight. It's not the end of the world if you get taken down in that first minute, but it sets the tone. It gives that person that momentum, and MMA is a really momentum-based sport. Like, most amateur fights, whoever gets the momentum at the start usually wins, and then when they bring it back, that's when they're usually ready to go to pro. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Nathan said throughout your amateur career he'd matched you Thai style, which basically means he'd given you all manner of opponents. He didn't match you with any easy fights. He always gave you the test that he thought you needed, made you take fights on short notice, quick turnarounds. Through all of that, talk to me a bit about that process, and then kind of like what the biggest lessons were that you learned from that baptism of fire.
Well, in my head, if I wanted to do it, and I wanted to do it at the highest level, because that's what I wanted to do from young. I wanted to do this at the highest level. And I sort of said, well, if you want to do it, we'll do it then. And that's what it was every time. And it was like a mental thing. It was like, oh, okay, how tough really are you then? You throw something at me and I'm like, yeah. You throw something at me again and I think, oh, I don't want to do it. But then I'm like, nah, yeah. I'll just give him that response every time. And then it got normal. And then I think 1 year we actually done a fight every month for 12 months straight. So
really,
yeah, man. About I think 12 fights on the trot, one a month. I'm sure it was, or it might have been a bit less, but it was a big gap. And I didn't notice until Nath had said, "Oh no, you need to have a little rest now."
Yeah, you were just in the war zone at that point.
Yeah, fights after fights after fights, but it was good because it was making me better. But my issue back then was like, I wasn't being professional. So I'd do a fight and then I'd go home and eat loads of food, or go out and go to a rave or something stupid like that. Do you know what I mean? And then I'd have to build back up then, rather than now. I'm just building and building and building and building and building. I'm living like an athlete now. Like every day I've got training. I've got certain days that I don't go to work just to train. And I've worked to that, and I've pushed to get it to that level, you know what I mean? And ever since coming to Renegade, the guys that I'm training with, just different level, and it just pushes you and makes you want to work harder. When you're getting in the photos and everyone's taking their tops off and they've got abs and that, and you're looking down and you're like, oh, I need abs, man.
Mate, it's something as vain as that,
That's
isn't
what I
it?
mean. It's little things, but it's about that team atmosphere, that it's professional, isn't it? And as you sit on the mat, there's just pros on pros on pros, and they're all good at different things, and we all bring the best out of each other.
Talking about that athlete lifestyle, what are some like key principles you've picked up that you live by outside of the gym to make sure you're performing your best inside the gym when it comes to training?
The main thing for me was my nutrition. I was one that I'd always count my calories and make sure, because I wanted to look my best, but I'd always eat for enjoyment rather than fuel for performance. So I'd save all my calories for the night and then just have a big dinner, because that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was used to doing. But now I split my calories out throughout the day and try to have more calories before the session. Before, it used to make me think, I felt sick because of it, but it wasn't. It was because it was the foods I was eating. I weren't eating whole foods. I weren't eating,
lots of oils, lots of sugar.
Well, yeah, just crap. Like, usually, but the rule I go by is if you're making it yourself in the kitchen, it's probably going to be half decent. Right?
I think that's the best rule. Yeah. If it comes in a packet, it's probably some
stay
shit
away
in
from it.
Yeah.
If it's got a barcode, that's what some people say. But
it's
hard to live by that, though, isn't it? In this day and age,
it is difficult. Easier said than done. You talked about the activity and how crazy your activity's been as an amateur. Going pro, are you looking for a similar level of activity?
100%.
Really? Yeah.
100%. I want to maybe not jump into a fight every month as such, because obviously it means more. Obviously, there's money involved now and all things like that. So it means more. I need to take care of my stock a bit more. Whereas when I was an amateur, your stock is how good you're going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
you need to.
It's a big research phase, right?
Exactly. It's just to see if you're built for it. See if you actually can do it. So many guys. Nice touched on it. There's so many guys that just pad their records and build their records, which is just fine in one sense, but not fine it's fine in a sense of you're gonna look good on paper and you're gonna probably potentially get one or two big money fights, but in those big money fights you're gonna get found out, and so it's like it's about longevity, isn't it? I'm in this for the long run. I'm not in this to do one money fight and then leave. Man, I'm in this to become a world champion if that's my, if the stars align.
Yeah. Let's go into that. Do you think it is? How much do you believe in something like destiny? Do you think certain parts of it is mapped out, or do you think it's strictly a combination of good fortune?
I feel like
and
it's just
work?
good decisions, the 1% decisions every day. That's what I've always done. That's what I've always got right. Obviously, not always. I'm not perfect, but the majority of the time, I've got them 1% decisions correct. And it's the little things. All the little things add up to a big thing. So, yeah.
Do you have
hard work? That's all I believe in.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Even if you believe in destiny, I think it's an asinine approach to just sit back, be lazy, and think
that's it.
That's it. And just going to throw you a bone.
I believe I'm going to be the best that I can be, but I don't believe if I just sit there, it's just going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
That's it. Whether you want to call it law of attraction, manifestation, destiny, whatever it is, at the end of the day, there's incredibly few people.
Input equals output. So it's got to work.
That's it. Nothing's going to come from.
That's all I've ever done. It's all I've ever done from the start. It's just work hard. Even if I weren't good, I'd still work hard. There's that saying in it: work hard. Hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. So that's how I've always been second best. And I've always just pushed on.
Where do you think that work ethic comes from? Do you think it's something you were born with or developed in childhood?
Developed. I went through a lot when I was a kid, and it's made me the man I am today. I'm only 23 years old, but I've got a long career ahead of me.
Yeah, it's that old saying, isn't it? Hard times create hard men.
That's it.
Weak times create weak men.
That's it. I believe in
that.
And
it goes from that. So obviously, your debut's on Golden Ticket. You talked about your aspirations becoming world champ. When you're looking forward to the guys that are... What weight are you going to be fighting at?
Lightweight.
Lightweight. Just still at lightweight.
Yeah.
You're looking at those guys in the UFC, I imagine. That's where you're shooting for.
100%.
Are there guys in particular that you take inspiration from? With
guys I train with?
Yeah.
Joel Herbert, Akon, Leon, Fabian, Tim Wild. Everyone, they're the guys that I've always looked up to my local guys. I remember Tim Wild. I remember my second or third MMA fight. It was against a kid called Casper, and there was no runner to come get me. I'm sat there wrapped up, ready. I just know I'm next. I'm ready, and I'm watching the door for the runner, and the runner ain't coming. And I hear my name, I get announced, and I just get up and I just sprint. And I remember sprinting down the stairs, and Tim's there, and obviously I've sprinted, and Tim's just go, whoa, and pulled me back. And I remember thinking, oh, fucking hell, it's Tim Wild, that is. The experiment, like, the man. And then, obviously, and I went out and won that fight. And, like, little things like that pushed me. And then next thing you know, I'm at the gym training with these guys. They're calling me friend and stuff like that. And it really motivates me.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of training at such a high-level gym like Renegade.
100%.
You don't have to look far afield to find inspiration.
No,
it's literally like right here.
I remember when I come down to Loughborough, and you got Jimmy Wallhead, like shaking my hand and smiling, happy to see me, and then I'm like, yeah, like he's just being nice, you know what I mean? But in my head, it's like, oh yeah, man, this is it. This is what I want.
Yeah. Oh no, I guarantee as well, mate. Like the way Jimmy is, it's not just being nice. He's got such
respect.
And he can see. He can see who's got the potential to go in places. So I'm sure that was a big part.
I like time for Jimmy.
Yeah, 100%, man. So your opponent on your next fight in June, not familiar with who they are. Do you know much about them at all?
Can't remember his name. It's going to annoy me, that is. He's Danish, though.
Okay.
I think he's had 2 fights, lost them both by decision. Couldn't find the videos of them. But I've watched his amateur record. I mean, his amateur fights, a couple of them, and he's all right.
Yeah.
Seems good. I think the one, he ended up getting a rear naked choke. And he looked decent in that. So, yeah.
How much throughout your amateur career did you have like opponent-specific camps? I guess it's hard, right, when you fight. Never.
Everyone pulled out, bro.
Yeah.
They've put up a story that I've had 7 and 5, so that's what 12 fights, 12 amateur fights. And I must have had 30 opponents, and they all pulled out, every single one. Obviously, some had injuries, some didn't, but I learned not to care. You know what I mean? It didn't matter. Just on the day, someone was going to be in front of me. The worst one actually was a Thai boxing fight. I was meant to fight with both debutants. Pro-am, so that means all the shinnies, the elbow, everything counts, but you've got shinnies, elbow pads, and there was knees to the head as well, but we didn't have knee pads on, so it could have been a dangerous fight. And then I've turned up on the day, and they've switched out the opponent without telling me. And the kid was like a fucking professional, like he'd had loads of fights as a pro and that, and I went to war with him. And it was a good fight, like I remember thinking back, like fucking hell. That was hard, but no wonder it was hard. The guy was like a pro. I remember speaking to him at the end, and he was like, "Oh, how many fights you had?" And I was like, "I ain't, mate. I'm not debut." He was just looking at me like, "What?"
What's it like then in that moment when you realise, "Fucking hell, this isn't another debutant."
The thing is that Nice been very clever when things like that have happened. He doesn't tell me, but he wouldn't sacrifice me. I wouldn't be a sacrificial lamb for him. He would if he didn't believe that I was good enough, he'd pull me out of it straight away.
Yeah.
There's been a couple of occasions where he has asked me, "Oh, do you want to do it or not?" And obviously my answer is always yes. And he's believed in me from day one. I think where he put in his story the other day that we've been working together for like 7 years. That's a long time, and we've got to know each other really well. Obviously, as we talked about earlier, it's a shame we're going to China, but it's life, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it is. But if you could like share a word on that, like how difficult do you think it's going to be?
I don't think it will be difficult. At first, it was a bit daunting. He's been transparent with me from the start, so I knew he applied for this job like 2 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, and
so I've
known, and I'm a man myself who runs a business. I know like this isn't the be all end all of life. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I understood that.
We've all got our own paths, haven't we?
That's it, and I know he'll be. I know he'll be just one phone call away if need be. He's set up group chats. Basically, he's set me up. He's set me up to do well, and it's just on me now. I just need to run with it, and that's what I plan on doing.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about mindset. You've already got into it plenty, and I think you've really done a good job of like advertising some key mindsets that you live by: the work ethic, the willingness to just say, "Yeah, I'm going to crack on with this." Like I said, being your own man, not worrying about things like Nath being a big mentor, moving away. The job remains the same, the goal remains the same. But to just kind of like distill it down to a mantra. What is like that mantra in your mind, your mindset that's going to take you to the top of the sport?
No one cares, work harder.
Yeah.
That is literally my motto in my head. That's how I get over things that annoy me. That's how I get, that's how I get motivated. It's like, me and my mates say it as just a good joke, like, you know what I mean? If I'll say something, they'll be like, "Oh, no one cares. Work harder." Like,
it's a brilliant one.
We'll tag each other in it on Facebook and that. So open our phones and just open, no one cares. Work harder.
But he's so true, right? Isn't it?
Yeah,
because we get caught up in like how hard we're working.
That's it.
And then you realise everyone else is doing the same fucking thing.
That's it.
You kind of almost think you're special sometimes when you've put so much work into something and you realise this is the game that we're playing.
Yeah, 100%. And especially in this sport that we're in, it's very like that. It's very like it's unforgiving, man.
And everyone's hungry, right?
100%. Everyone wants to win. Everyone wants to do well. But that's the beauty of it, isn't it?
As a final question, prediction for your pro debut. How's it going to go?
First round knockout, man. All day.
I like it, man. Cheers, Wez.
Cheers, pal.
Appreciate
Thank you.
It.
That was good, man.